So it's off to the Broken Isles in Legion. This is a land that was first seen in Warcraft 3 when Mayav Shadowsong was chasing Illidan. She showed surprise that it was there. The Night Elves, when they bumped into it, noted that it wasn't on any maps. It had apparently been raised from the seafloor. It was a sort of Atlantis type place that had somehow been raised up. They had no idea why or who had done it. And it transpires that Illidan has come here to get an artifact from the Tomb of Sargeras, which is a place where the avatar, I suppose, of Sargeras was buried under the sea during the War of the Ancients. And it was... the reason Illidan knew about it was because he'd consumed the skull of Gul'dan. Of course, we know Gul'dan from Warlords of Draenor, and got his memories. Gul'dan himself had earlier come here. In fact, he betrayed his own horde to actually make the journey here to try and get this artifact himself. But he was less successful. He was trying to rip Sargeras' power from him rather than doing his bidding. So, of course, things didn't go so well for him. Illidan, on the other hand, was actually working for the Burning Legion. So with Gul'dan's memories and an understanding that he couldn't actually wield the power himself, but just use it to do Sargeras' his bidding, he travels to the Broken Isles, or Suramar as it's only noted at the time, and takes the Eye of Sargeras with the purpose of attacking the Lich King. Of course, that doesn't go very well. And there we are. We're into the Broken Isles. Now, I've mentioned this before, but of course, the extra view distance that we get in Legion, which is supposed to be 3 times as much as we have in live at the moment, has allowed them to create pretty stunning landscapes, really. Here we've got a view over Dalaran and towards the Tomb of Sargeras. We can see this activity with the green fell energy going up into the sky, and this sort of pervades everywhere. We see this in every zone, really, from one vantage point or other, as we travel through the Broken Isles. Now, you can do the zones in any order, of course, but I quite like to start with val'sharah. It's when you first land there, when you first sort of fly to the main base, it's a lovely verdant land. You can see it's a sort of very druidy place. Wouldn't look out of place in the Night Elf lands. But as you move further in, you start to see the corruption creeping in from the Legion. You get to like an extreme fellwood. Unfortunately, there are no tree shapes like Sideshow Bob, but you do see it become more and more corrupt until you get full-blown corrupted areas. And there's one particular place where it looks like, you could sort of imagine the battle lines drawn. Well, there is a literal battle going on between the Night Elves and the Ancients and the demonic forces. And counterpointed here, you've got the corrupted part of the zone alongside a Night Elf temple in ruins, of course. But it really does sort of juxtapose the difference here between the parts of the Broken Isles that are still sort of lush and elfish, and where the Burning Legion has taken hold. I mean, I think it's actually my favourite zone, other than the fact that Tyrande was a right bitch to me just because I was Horde, although I think she's a bitch to everyone. But I think a lot of people complained, actually. I need to run through it again with another character, because I think Blizzard have toned her down. So the high and mighty bitchiness is not quite so bitchy now, apparently. Just looking at an area between High Mountain and Suramar here, we can see the fell effects of the Tomb of Sargeras off into the background, and it really does loom over you, a bit like Mount Doom in The Lord of the Rings. And High Mountain itself is a very interesting zone. It's the home of the Tauren. It's not really Night Elfy, because it's more like Tauren moose men as opposed to cowmen, but very much along the same lines as the Tauren of Kalimdor, very Native American themed. And High Mountain, well named because the mountain is extremely high. It's quite something. When you actually get to the very top of High Mountain, if you feel a bit claustrophobic, it can be a little bit like that. In fact, as far as we can see, the extra range distance that Blizzard have given us is barely enough to actually be able to see anything down at the bottom. It's all very hazy. when you are looking from the top of High Mountain. In fact, I had to sort of fall halfway down in Bubble, of course, to actually see any detail in the ground below. In Stormheim 2, again, there's the fell energy coming from the Tomb of Sargeras yet again, covering the landscape. And this zone is Valkyr land. We came across the Valkyr in Northrend, in Wrath of the Lich King. And this is, again, very much an area of their own. The landscape and the architecture is sort of very Nordic, very Scandinavian, fir trees, pine trees, great stone monuments, very craggy, quite difficult to get around easily. I'm not sure it will necessarily be the best place to go mining until you get flying mounts, because imagine maybe that'll make it better, the fact that maybe a few other people will decide it's not as easy to do as some other places, because there are lots of twists and turns and impassable terrains. It was, it's a really nice zone as well. It's very atmospheric. You've got this sort of autumnal feel there, and great atmosphere when you go down to the tombs and the sort of the land of the dead type thing, but I don't want to give too many spoilers on that one. Asuna is the fourth levelling zone, of course, depending on what order you're doing. But it was the fourth one added, certainly. It's only just been added. And you can probably tell why. I would say it's probably the prettiest zone. It's the one where I think the art department have gone mad. Possibly the reason for this is a lot of Asuna will be very close, or closer than to the Tomb of Sargeras and to Dalaran than many of the others, which gives them, again, that scope for the really spectacular landscapes. It's very much like val'sharah in that it's a very much of a mixture of areas where the Legion has really got a good foothold in it, and also ruins of elf civilization, but populated by Naga this time, which of course in the Tides of Terror expansion in Warcraft 3 is where we discover that Naga used to be elves themselves. And for those who are thinking that maybe the next expansion would be an Ashara themed expansion, this zone and the main quest line through this zone, without giving anything away, will only sort of add fuel to that particular fire. It is a very nice zone. It's a zone that has unicorns. It has good unicorns. It has bad unicorns as well. At least I assume they were bad. I killed them anyway. I think they were bad. Yeah, I'm sure they were bad. So I think, along with everything else, you will really enjoy the art style. I especially think that the extra view distance has really inspired the art team to push the envelope, so to speak, and they've really come up trumps here, because it really does show they've absolutely used it. It's not just that you can see further, they have actually utilised that. So now, with the release date confirmed, hopefully you're itching to get into Legion. From an artistic point of view, it's absolutely gorgeous. If you've liked the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later.